For centuries, one creature has haunted the nightmares of humanity, the vampire. An immortal predator, feeding on the lifeblood of the living. But where does this legend come from? And why does the name Dracula echo so powerfully through history? Our journey begins in the shadowy lands of Eastern Europe. Folklore from the Carpathian Mountains tells of restless spirits, revenants who return from the grave to torment the living. They were called strigoi in Romania, Nosferatu in Whispers, and to peasants, they were the embodiment of evil creatures of the night, drinking blood to preserve their cursed existence. But the vampire legend is far older. In ancient Mesopotamia, tales were told of Lili II, a female demon who preyed on men and infants. In Greece, the Lamia and Empusa lured men before draining their life. In China, the jiangshi, or hopping vampire, was said to suck the qi, the vital essence, from the living. In India, stories of the Vatala describe spirits that possessed corpses and drank life force. Across every continent, in every culture, there is a shadowy figure that echoes the vampire myth. Humanity seems to have always feared that death itself was not the end, but only the beginning of something darker. The figure of Dracula, however, emerges from history itself. In the 15th century, Vlad III of Wallachia, known as Vlad the Impaler, ruled with cruelty and terror. A ruthless prince, he impaled his enemies on wooden stakes, leaving fields of corpses as warnings. His brutality earned him both fear and fame, and in his native tongue he was called Dracula, the son of the dragon. Centuries later, Bram Stoker would immortalize this name in his 1897 novel, Dracula. Stoker's Count Dracula was not just a tyrant, but a supernatural being. He lived in a crumbling Transylvanian castle, transformed into bats and wolves, and seduced his victims before drinking their blood. The novel drew from folklore and history, but also from Victorian fears, disease, sexuality, and the unknown lurking beyond the borders of civilization. The myth of vampirism also had medical roots. In earlier centuries, diseases such as rabies and porphyria created symptoms that resembled vampiric traits: sensitivity to sunlight, aversion to garlic, strange behavior, even aggression. People who died suddenly from plague outbreaks were sometimes suspected of being vampires, their corpses exhumed and staked to prevent them from rising again. But vampirism was not only fear, it was power. In folklore, to drink blood was to steal life, to gain immortality. This idea has obsessed humanity for centuries. From secret societies searching for eternal youth, to modern subcultures inspired by vampire lore, the hunger for life everlasting continues. As the centuries passed, vampires evolved. From Eastern European villages, they moved into Gothic literature, then into cinema. The silent 1922 classic Nosferatu gave the world its first film vampire, a monstrous figure shrouded in shadow. In the decades that followed, Dracula himself became a cultural icon, played by Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, and countless others. But the vampire was also reinvented. No longer just monsters, they became tragic, romantic, even heroic figures. Anne Rice's interview with the vampire painted them as tortured souls. Modern films and series turned them into symbols of desire, rebellion, or eternal beauty. Yet beneath every version, the ancient fear still lingers, the fear of death, and the dream of escaping it. And still, stories of real vampires persist. In rural villages of Eastern Europe, vampire hunts were recorded even into the 19th century. Peasants burned corpses, nailed them into coffins, or decapitated suspected vampires. These rituals may seem barbaric today, but they reveal just how deeply the belief in vampirism was rooted. Even in modern times, strange reports continue. Individuals who identify as vampires, claiming they must consume blood or psychic energy to survive, exist in hidden subcultures across the world. For some, it is ritual, for others, it is a lifestyle. The myth has leapt from folklore to personal identity. The vampire is also a mirror for society. In each era, it reflects our deepest anxieties. In the Middle Ages, it was disease and death. In the Victorian Age, it symbolized sexuality and forbidden desires. In the 20th century, it became rebellion against authority. And today, vampires embody immortality, beauty, and even empowerment. Yet no matter how it changes, the heart of the myth is the same, a being that walks the line between life and death. Eternal, but cursed. Desired, but feared. The story of Dracula and vampirism is more than just horror. It is about humanity's deepest fears and desires, the fear of the grave, the seduction of immortality, and the eternal battle between darkness and light. Perhaps that is why the vampire never dies. Legends of the undead have survived for thousands of years, changing with each culture, each century. And somewhere in the ruins of castles, in the whispers of the night, the spirit of Dracula still waits. This is Atlas in Mysteries. Join us as we uncover the truth behind myths, legends, and history's darkest secrets.